Have you ever felt like no matter how much you have, it still doesn't feel like enough? Like there's always something missing, something just out of reach, something more you're supposed to be chasing? More money, more success, more recognition, more everything. And yet, even after getting some of those things, the feeling doesn't go away. It just changes shape. It becomes quieter but heavier. Now imagine this. There was once a man who had almost nothing by the world's standards. No wealth, no fame, no grand achievements. And yet, he lived each day with a kind of peace that many people spend their entire lives searching for. But one day, he began to question that peace. And that question changed everything. Far away from crowded cities, beyond highways filled with noise, there was a quiet village, the kind of place where mornings didn't begin with alarms, but with birdsong, where time didn't rush, it wandered. The houses were small, built with care rather than ambition. Paths were made not of concrete, but of footsteps, and at the very edge of this village, where the land opened into wide green fields, stood a simple wooden house. Its paint had faded over the years. The roof creaked softly when the wind passed through. The windows were small, but always open. This was where Hari lived. Hari was an old man, not weak, but slow in the way that comes from living long enough to stop rushing. His hands were rough from years of work, his back slightly bent, not from burden, but from time. He lived alone. His wife had passed away many years ago, the kind of loss that never fully leaves, but quietly becomes part of you. His children, they had left for the city. They had dreams, bigger than the village could hold. Hari understood. He never asked them to stay, and so his days became quiet, but not empty, never empty. Every morning, before the sun fully rose, Hari would wake up, not because he had to, but because he wanted to. There was something special about that moment, when the world was still soft, and the light had not yet claimed the sky. He would sit up slowly, pause for a moment, and take a deep breath, as if greeting the day like an old friend. Then he would step outside. The air would be cool, fresh, untouched. He would stand there for a while, doing nothing, just listening to the wind, to the trees, to life, moving gently around him. After that, he would prepare his tea, a simple cup. No hurry, no distraction. He didn't drink it while thinking about the next task. He drank it just to drink it. Sip by sip, moment by moment. Behind his house was his garden, small, uneven, but alive. There were a few rows of vegetables, some herbs, and one mango tree. That tree was special. It didn't produce much. Each season, only a handful of mangoes would grow, sometimes less. But Hari never complained. The first mango of the season, he would hold it gently in his hands, as if it was something rare. He would smile and say softly, "Enough is a beautiful thing." Sometimes he ate it, sometimes he didn't. He would give it away to a neighbor who looked tired, to a child passing by, or leave it quietly where someone in need would find it. No announcement, no expectation, just quiet giving to anyone watching from the outside. Hari's life would seem small, predictable, limited, but inside, Hari felt something many people never experience. He felt enough, not because he had everything, but because he didn't feel the need to have more. One afternoon, something unusual happened. A stranger arrived in the village. He didn't walk slowly like the others. He didn't pause to greet people. He moved quickly, as if time was chasing him. He wore clean, expensive clothes, shoes that had never touched dust like this before. His eyes scanned everything, not with appreciation, but with evaluation. When he saw Hari sitting outside his house, he stopped for a moment. He just looked. Then he walked closer. "Do you live here?" the young man asked. Hari looked up, smiled gently. Yes. The young man looked around, at the house, the garden, the quiet. "This is all you have?" Hari nodded. The young man let out a small laugh, not unkind, but disbelieving. You've lived your whole life like this? Yes. The young man shook his head. You're sitting on opportunity and doing nothing with it. Hari tilted his head slightly. Opportunity? This land, the young man said, gesturing around. You could expand this, grow more, sell more, build something bigger. Hari listened. You could earn money, real money. The young man continued. Why settle for this, when you could have so much more? Hari didn't answer immediately. Instead, he poured another cup of tea and offered it. After a pause, the young man took it. Hari spoke softly. If I had more, what would I do with it? The young man frowned slightly. You'd live better. Better? Hari asked. Yes, more comfort, more security. I wake up in peace, he said. I eat when I'm hungry. I rest when I'm tired. He paused. What would I add to make that better? The young man didn't like the answer. Ambition, he said. Hari smiled, but said nothing. But that night, for the first time in years, Hari couldn't sleep easily. The young man's words, they lingered. What if I am missing something? What if this isn't enough? The thought was small, but powerful, and once it entered his mind, it didn't leave. The next morning, something was different. Hari still woke up early, but he didn't sit still. He went straight to the garden. He looked at it, not with gratitude, but with calculation. This could be bigger. He started working. Harder than before, he expanded the land, planted more seeds, bought more tools. Days became busier, weeks became faster. The garden grew, and so did his earnings. People noticed. They praised him. You're doing well now, they said. Hari nodded, but inside, something felt unfamiliar. The birds stopped coming. There were no seeds left for them. The tea became rushed. Just another task. The quiet mornings disappeared, replaced by plans, numbers, worries. Hari had more now, more crops, more money, more recognition, but less peace. One evening, after a long, exhausting day, Hari sat alone. In his hand was a mango, bigger than any he had grown before. Perfect. He took a bite and paused. It tasted ordinary, not sweet like before, not special, just fruit. He looked around. The garden was bigger, but emptier. The silence was louder, and his heart felt heavy. The next morning, Hari did something he hadn't done in a long time. Nothing. He simply sat and waited. At first, there was only silence. Then a bird landed nearby. Then another. Hari reached into his pocket and scattered a few seeds. As the birds gathered, a quiet understanding returned. He hadn't been lacking before. He had been complete until he forgot. Slowly, Hari changed again. Not all at once, but gently. He reduced what he had expanded. He kept what he needed and let go of the rest. The garden became smaller, but his days became fuller. The tea returned, the birds returned, the peace returned. One day, the young man came back. He saw Hari sitting just as before, calm, still, at ease. You didn't grow, he said. Hari smiled. I did. He looked at the young man with kindness. I learned that more is not always better. He paused. Sometimes more is just more. And then he added softly, happiness doesn't come from having everything. It comes from realizing that what you have is already enough. In a world that teaches you to chase, pause, look at your life. Not what's missing, but what's already there. Because the moment you learn to say, this is enough, is the moment you stop searching and finally start living.